I'm the type of person, I vision and I want that thing to move fast. I'm not a turtle. It takes a lot for me to try to slow things down. But there have been times where in wanting it fast, it doesn't happen as fast as I want it to. Really start what makes and feels comfortable to you. Don't feel obligated to fit into somebody's scenario what vision planning looks like. I've talked about in the past success and being able to have that element of rest. So what do you need to do mentally to make sure you're still on top of your game? Being able to understand that you need to make sure that mentally you are at the best version of yourself. Welcome back to another episode of She Built Success. I'm your host, Claudia. Let's get into it. So today I want to talk about writing the vision and what that really looks like in action. Because y'all know by now that I'm all about taking action and being able to break down the how. So what I'm going to share is a little bit of how I bring forth my vision and what that looks like in real time. So ordinarily, I'm not a note cards kind of girl or a phone kind of girl or anything. I usually just speak to you for what it is. But this time I'm actually going to glance a little bit at my notes because I want to make sure that I equip you with the tools that you need to be able to do just that, which is write the vision. So jumping right into it, we typically see things like, or you hear things like write the vision, manifest the vision, but then there's no real action behind it. And what I found for myself and others that I've worked with is being able to categorize and classify components of that vision helps to make it much more real. So let me glance and we're going to get right into what that vision looks like. So there are 8 areas, and in the past I've talked about things like 12-week year and how I structure my schedule, my calendar, my goals and things around 12-week year. And over the years I've translated that into templates and systems that work for me and available to you. And one of those areas is life areas. And there are 8 components that help to flush out a vision, right? So of course we have this big grandiose vision of, and it could be in life, it could be professionally, it could be in other categories, but I want to break down what that looks like. So here are the 8 categories. I'm going to just go over them. Physical, spiritual, professional, desires, mental, relationships, financial, and personal. Now, I for sure remember when I was going through just as the years evolved, what a vision looks like for me. And for me, I'll have a big grand vision and then I'll start breaking it down into these categories at the top of every year because I want to see where I started, what I was thinking in the year prior and even years prior because I've gone back, and then where I'm at for this year. And so sometimes that carries over, and that's okay. And I'm saying that's okay because I feel like when we speak vision, it's a lot of, you have to accomplish this and grind and hustle, and you end up burning yourself out and making yourself tired and thereby accomplishing nothing. Or you attempt and you get deflated or defeated because you feel like you didn't meet that criteria. So I'm going to encourage you to be okay with letting things carry over. Sometimes, and I know especially for me, I'm the type of person, I vision and I want that thing to move fast. I'm not a turtle. It takes a lot for me to try to slow things down, and I want it fast. But there have been times where in wanting it fast, it doesn't lack quality, I will say that, but it doesn't happen as fast as I want it to. And so desires is one I want to specifically hone in on, because when I carry things over, there are some times where it's something that I would want, but it's not necessarily I have to have, right? And so I was finding that sometimes when I would break down my visions, that I would have like something doesn't fit nicely into one of the other 7 buckets. How can I put it somewhere that makes sense? And so I ended up starting to call that desire. So that was my own added element to breaking down my vision. Now, physical can mean a number of things to a number of people. I'm going to tell you what it means for me. For me, it's my health. Exercising specifically. And I know I've had goals where I'm like, I want to lose X amount of pounds and I want to be able to work out, 30 minutes a day. And And I tend to, again, I want to move fast. So I get frustrated when I don't see those results. But on the physical side, I've learned to, in order to break it down, like for instance, real time. As the time of this recording, I have a goal where I say, okay, at a minimum, I want to do 8,000 steps a day. Could I have done 10,000? No. You want to know why? Because I felt like if I did that, I would have put too much pressure on myself with everything else that's going on in life. So I said, let's keep it bite-sized. We could bump it up once I consistently make that 8,000 mark. And the other one is to exercise at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. And then I have one rest day. So basically 6 out of 7 days a week, I'm exercising. So for me, that was a physical goal that I set at the top of the year. The other one, so that's physical. And I'm giving you examples for what I've done, but I definitely want you to look at how that would apply to you, your life, and your situation. Spiritual. So for me, this was a very big one. For the past, I'd say about 3, maybe 4 years, I have been really intentional about how I structure and spend my devotional time. I can remember at one point in year 2, if I'm not mistaken, I remember feeling like my devotional time felt more like a checkbox, something I did versus actually what it was meant to be, which was, praying and doing my devotional studies and just having that time in prayer. And when I found it felt more like a checklist, I stopped because I didn't want, let me say how I stopped. I didn't just flat out stop reading and studying, but I didn't want it to feel like just a checklist. And so I made it more organic. So throughout my day, I am, saying prayers, I'm giving thanks, I am reading different scriptures, I'm making sure that I'm cognizant. And so while I still now, fast forward to now, I do have dedicated time, usually in the morning before everybody gets up and things get started, where I have that quiet time to have my devotional time. But it's also something that I've recognized that it no longer feels like a checkbox. I get excited about it. Like I find different devotionals. I know at one point I was reading The Garden Within, which is more of a book than a devotional, but it was still really good, by Dr. Anita Phillips. I have Upon Awakening by Jackie Hill Perry that is on the docket coming up here shortly. Right now, I'm actively going through Elijah, Faith and Fire by Priscilla Schreier. So I find things that can help supplement how I do my devotional, but that was something that I set for myself at the top of the year. Okay, let's talk professional. So professional, it depends on where you are. If you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, it's typically around whatever you're doing for your client work. If you are in corporate or in the workforce, that would be more around your career development, growth, and things like that. And I will strongly urge you, whether you are a small business owner or you are a corporate professional, to look at goals that grow you and stretch you. Writing that vision down for what it looks like. I've heard different things with, do you do a 3 to 5 year plan? Should I do a 10-year plan? Honestly, start with what makes you comfortable. I know that sounds like a consultant answer, it depends, but really start what makes and feels comfortable to you. So if it's a year that you're like, okay, I can project for a year, then write that down. Don't feel obligated to fit into somebody's scenario what vision planning looks like. Yes, there are long-term visions, and yes, there are short-term visions, but I believe that in doing this breakdown, it'll help you to not only see the small pieces of that vision, but be able to eventually expand out. So just remember, you could take it bite-sized. But in professional, for me, it's been, I have a number of endeavors going on, my consulting company, so we do government contract work. And for me, one of the markers was attaining additional contracts for other agencies within my company. And so we do things like data visualization training, and we do things like data analytics, and we do things like project management. And so it was getting into other agencies that need those kinds of services. So that was a goal that I set for myself for 2024. So that's Capital Consulting Group, but then the other side is the nonprofit, which is Black Girls Fly. And for Black Girls Fly, it was really, we got our 501c3. I'm totally excited about that. That was a goal that I had set last year, and so we did get that accomplished. But now it's about raising funds, raising awareness, growing the community of what is in general aviation, but more specifically up to airline transport pilots, and getting an understanding of what that community needs, raising the funds to be able to give out scholarships and grants, and bringing on the different sponsors that would help for Black Girls Fly. And so for me, I had a few professional goals, but they were within their own category. So not only for Capital Consulting Group, which is our company that does government contract work, but also for Black Girls Fly. Now, the other goal that I had within Capital Consulting Group, and this is still professional for this vision, is to be able to pick back up small businesses. So there was a time, so 2014 up until I'd say through 2021, we were working both in government and small business, and I made the decision in 2021 to pause small business work. And that was primarily because I wanted us to focus strategically on setting up the company in government contracting. So we already had government contracts under our belt, but it was really who are the agencies that we need to develop additional relationships with, who are the projects and departments that we need to better understand what their requirements are. Like it looked like that. And so I paused small business work. And so before I paused it, we were doing copywriting, we were doing email marketing, we were doing sales funnels, we were doing systems and workflows within the back ends of entrepreneurs and businesses. And so I really thought that I want to pause that because we couldn't focus on both at the same time. And it's okay to have that pause. And so for small businesses, that pause was really to make sure that we were able to focus on growing the government contracting side. But now I'm happy that we get to pick back up small businesses and help them also, if they're interested, getting into government contracting, but more importantly, establishing the systems, the workflows, marketing, things like that in the back end that helps grow. So that strategic vision of how can we help make you successful? So that was a goal for professional, right? And writing that out and understanding that there was a point in time that as a company, we could not take on both. We had to pause and being able to now pick that back up. So again, it's something that I want to reiterate. It is okay to come back to something. It is okay to table something. But had I not written that down, had I not been tracking towards that, I'm not gonna say I would have forgotten, but being able to recall where I was versus where I wanted to go, kind of seeing that trend was something that's beneficial. All right, so the next one, I touched on desires at the top, but desires, again, is really almost like a bucket that it doesn't really fit in the other 7 areas. It's something that you're looking to expand upon. Maybe you might want to almost call it like a junk drawer if you're familiar with Donald Miller. It's almost like a junk drawer. You're putting it it's not to the side, but you're putting it in something that you're later flesh out, reclassify potentially, and then bring it into your whole vision. The next one is mental. So that could be things like therapy. That could be things like downtime, a break. I've talked about in the past success and being able to have that element of rest, and that acronym within success, being able to just decompress and having that you time. So what do you need to do mentally to make sure you're still on top of your game? And there'll be lulls, right? There'll be times where you're like, yeah, dude, I'm not feeling this. And that's okay as well. But being able to understand that you need to make sure that mentally you are at the best version of yourself. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. We have a couple more. Relationships. This one, I actually, at one point, I broke it down to like personal relationships versus business relationships versus friendships. And then I said, you know what, I said, I'm okay with bucketing it as one category. And as I move forward, if I want to call out specific elements, then I can. So like for this year, for me, for relationships, it was really just cultivating more friendships, deeper friendships. And what that looked like for me prior was I still have, the relationships there, but it wasn't as deep as I would like. So now for this year, it's been being intentional, making sure I'm staying in contact, making sure I'm following up, making sure I'm checking in. And I've talked about in other episodes, the different types of friendships and what I look for in friendships. And I encourage you to go back and kind of listen to it and think about it for yourself. Like, who are the friends that are maybe missing, type of friends that are missing in your life or that you already have, and kind of see what you get from that. Because I think that relationships, just whether it's in friends or personal family, what have you, are important. And I can say the other element for me for relationships was with my partner and making sure that, we still had time together and we still continue to grow and love on one another. And that still is the case, but it was definitely that, again, I wanted to make sure I was intentional about what my relationships look like for 2024. All right, financial. Okay, y'all. So y'all know I'm about that money. And I will say financial, I look at that both personal and professional. And I look at not only revenue, but what kind and what quality of life do we have for myself, for my family, for those around me. And while a dollar amount is, again, money for me is just a tool, a dollar amount is a true thing, but it really is quality on the personal side. Professionally, oh yeah, it's all about the contracts and collecting the checks and the invoices and and all of that. But I think that it really is what affords us a lifestyle that is comfortable and you don't feel stressed every day, and making sure that, the kids are able to continue their activities, 'cause that's a real thing. So for me, it was just making sure that the things that I'm doing, not only for the business, but in personal, financially aligned so that we can continue to live our best lives. All right. And then finally, personal. So personal, I looked at in terms of being able to almost take some me time. And this is different from mental in the sense that, like, a massage is something that's personal, but it allows me to decompress. I don't find it quite mental. I guess some people may classify it there, but for me, it's something that helps me just decompress, relax. Because I hold a lot of tension in my shoulders. I know that just is what it is. And so for me, the personal side of that is just being able to get that massage and be able to say, okay, good, we're good. Let's reset. Let's get back in gear. The other one is, what is something, and I'm posing the question, what is something that I would want that elevates me in some form? So after I've gone through all the other areas that we just talked about, it's what is going to elevate me to that next level. And this year, for me, it's getting my private pilot's license. It's a hobby, but that's something that I knew that I wanted to achieve and attain. And being able to do that is, a personal goal. So once you've looked at all of those 8 areas and you've defined that then helps you either completely encapsulate what your vision is going to look like, or that helps you to better formulate what that vision looks like. So, Bold Move Bestie, your assignment is to download the template that has those 8 areas to be able to better understand and better group how you're going to see things. I encourage you to work on your vision. We are at a point where visions to me are cyclical. They can change, and you should be okay with that. So know that at the time of when you decide to write that, if it evolves, it evolves. If it changes, it changes, and be fluid with it. But just make sure that you're capturing those areas and what your vision looks like. So Bold Move Besties, if you are not already subscribed on YouTube, I encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. New episodes drop every Wednesday. And if you are listening on the podcast platform of your choice, then go ahead and hit subscribe there. New episodes drop every Friday. I'll catch you on the next episode of She Built Success. If you're done with the fluff and ready to execute on the how, then visit shebuiltsuccess.com for the tools you need. It's time to push go and dive into real strategies, genuine understanding, and concrete steps to create both more in business and life. Head on over to shebuiltsuccess.com for access to exclusive downloads, resources, and bonuses. Because moving boldly forward is not just a destination. It's a multi-layered journey. Let's grow and build your success together.